But social class, and white social class in particular, is not discussed often in the US.
Right.
Why do you think that is?
It's purposely never been discussed because class is the basis of all politics, and if they start discussing it, 220 million people are going to realize they're being screwed. It's very convenient for the rich not to talk about class, the 1% that owns 45% of America's wealth. The non-discussion of class is a unique aspect of American hyper-capitalism. If everybody believes they're middle class because they got some cheap damn Dockers from Walmart and their car is shiny, then you don't have to tell them that for every dollar you earn, the corporation makes 7.
Is it partly because America is the land of opportunity? It's the land where everybody can go from sweeping the factory floor to running the company? The mythology of America?
True. That was never true. You know, when you find one, man, they wave it around. But look, you got 300 million people. Just like I said in the book, if your mama was a waitress and your daddy worked in the mill and neither one of them ever read a book and neither one of them got out of high school, you're not going to be in the White House, kid. And that's the life most of us live. And every now and then when you get one, oh my God, it's all over, the land of opportunity. Well, tell that to the poor damn guys driving a cab from Pakistan. It's just not so.
But it is the mythology upon which the United States sees itself.
It's the mythology it would like to believe. Every nation has to have a national story. And right after the Revolutionary War, when they suddenly really realized they weren't colonists anymore, they were Americans, there were about 50 years where a national story had to be created. So the story was based on their freedom. National heroes had to be created. And so the myth, there was a famous set of made-up stories, the beauties of George Washington, the cherry tree, and he threw them. And fraternities, they missed the fraternal organizations of England, so they founded the elks and the eagles and the lions based on their own kind of totemic animals. But in writing that story, that Scots-Irish defiance that says, I'm as good as any man, you know what I mean? Not better than any man, but as good as any man, kind of got extrapolated into something that's not. That equality is not, a great myth grew on it, that you're going to be president, you're going to get rich, you can go to college, everybody can go to college, ball.
We tend to forget that it's not that long ago that the United States was a society whose wealth and way of life was essentially tied to agriculture and farming. And it's really only since the Second World War that America has become the modern consumer society that we know today. But this has had a vast impact on American society, a massive urbanisation of the US at the expense of the country. Country towns are dying, country communities dying. What has happened to those people who have stayed on the land in the US?
Show me a few that stayed. Farming is corporate now. I mean, this myth of the family farm, you've got some fractional percent that are out there, but they're working at Walmart to pay for it so they can grow 100 acres of corn. There's nobody that stays on the land. There's kind of a resurgence in it, but it's San Francisco hippies going to grow some organic vegetables and don't realize that agriculture is a product of 10,000 years of human experience,
Where have they gone?
Outside the big cities. It kind of throws you because they can afford to pay $15,000 an acre to grow strawberries. Well, that's already suspect, but industrial agriculture owns America. 18% of Americans' farmers grow 91% of all that we consume.
And that's led to an entire way of life disappearing?
Well, in terms of the way the book starts out talking about subsistence farms, which now see is a dirty word, and it wasn't a dirty word at all. We lived extremely well. Like I told them last night, we killed 4 hogs. We had hundreds of jars of canned food and hams and barns and smokehouses and all this. And we never saw $1,000 a year income, and it was a whole culture. It was a whole valley of people living like that. And after World War II, the government and corporations said 44% of Americans either lived on farms or something that depended on farms, the local store or whatever. And after World War II, they took a survey of what the soldiers were going to do when they came back, and they all said, we're going home. Well, DuPont had made a lot of money selling nylon for parachutes and tires and all this, and Union Carbide had made fortunes, with the same nitrate that they burned up the people in Dresden with are now blasted into the soil to grow corn and sterilize the whole Midwest. But they realized they had to create some consumers. And they said it openly in their prospectus. They said it openly in Roosevelt and Truman's social planning. We've got to get these people off these farms and into production jobs so they'll earn money and they can buy things and we can maintain the war level of profits. See, instead of building schools and things out where they live. And so this migration was about 11 years long. 22 million people moved, and they founded the basis of the white underclass. They had an average of a 5th grade education. They worked cheap. They said sir and ma'am. The money economy was beefed up. They had to pay rent, buy a car, do all the things. But they never did make it. They had about 20 million children, and those children had about 20 million children. So now there's 64 million of us that are dumber than owl shit, and